And welcome back, everyone, to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. Today, we're going to take a little bit of a departure from the normal crypto topic to talk about something else that comes up on a lot of crypto calls that I get called about, and that's about IRAs and decisions there. We certainly have crypto IRAs. They're certainly available. There's a link in the description below for a recommendation, or you can call me to talk about the different options. But I do have a good product that's a referral here below in the description. But today I want to talk about Roth IRAs, and this is a topic that came up in the discussion group today. And my opinion, I'm going to share my opinion. Again, not financial advice, not tax advice. I'm not a financial or tax advisor, just a guy talking on the internet. But this is just my opinion on why I'm not a big fan of Roth IRAs, and I'm going to explain why. So I'm going to do a little bit of math. Sorry, got to do it. And to explain why Roths really don't make sense, and then explain why I'm not, I wouldn't go down that path. I did explore it when they first came around, and I chose not to go down, and I'm going to explain why. So more information here, and then I'll go with my conclusions. Just a quick reminder that nothing in this video is considered financial advice. I am not your financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Seek out your own advice and do your own diligence, do your own research. All right, so let's go through some slides on some of the Roth IRA math and why it doesn't make sense in my book. So walking through the slides, it's a little bit of algebra. I apologize for that, but you need to do a little bit of math to fully understand what the real bottom line of this is. So we're going to define a couple of letters. First, letter M is going to represent your money in a retirement IRA today. Now, let me say this now before I get too further into this. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a tax advisor. Just one guy talking on the internet with giving his opinion. So, not financial advice. So, moving forward. So, we got letter M is money in your retirement today. The letter G is going to represent your gains between now and retirement. And then T is your present income tax rate. That's capital T. And the lowercase t is going to be your future income tax rate. Those are the four letters we're going to use. So just keep those in mind and let's move forward. So then we're going to start with the math and we keep it really simple. The statement is this. If you do a Roth IRA now, you remove your money, or M, from the IRA. You pay income taxes on it at the rate of the letter T, T for taxes. And then it grows at the rate of G, or the letter G that represents your growth rate, with no income taxes owed in the future. So you're basically paying the taxes all up front now. So what does that mean equation-wise? What it means is your tax bill today is your money today times the tax rate, that's M times T, which leaves your money, I flipped it. And then your money today is 1 minus T times M. So your taxes are T times M, right? So that leaves... So your taxes are some fraction of 100%. So your money left is 1 minus the tax rate times M. That's your money after taxes. Now, your future money is that money today times your gains rate, which is the letter G. So it's G times M times 1 minus T. Moving forward, if you do not do a Roth IRA, the IRA money M grows at G, same rate, same growth. Then you pay the future tax on it, which is letter T. So your future money is M times G minus your future taxes. Your future taxes are that same M times G times the lowercase t. That is a fraction of 100%. So your total money is your future money minus your future taxes, which works out to be 1 minus t times M times G. So 1 minus t represents how much money is left after your percentage of money after taxes that you get times your initial money times your gains. Now, bringing it all together, the ultimate question is this. Will your future money be worth more with a Roth IRA? That's the ultimate question we're trying to ask. So, again, is your Roth future money greater than the non-Roth future money? So to do that, we break that down. We list it one more time. And we use the two equations from before. Now, if you look, they're very, very similar equations. They're like, if you just simplify it, it's everything. It's two things in parentheses times M times G. And if you look at it closely, it really is 1 minus capital T greater than 1 minus lowercase t, or simply put, and I am actually going to be over this, so let's move me. There we go. So the question really is, do you have a higher tax rate today or in the future when you retire? That's really the question. Is your present tax income rate higher today than it will be in the future? That's really the question. And if capital T, today's income tax rate, is higher than your future tax rate, the lowercase t, then by no means should you be doing a Roth IRA because your taxes are going to be lower in the future. And I've proven it that if you just think about it, let's just say, I'm just going to throw wild numbers out there. Let's say you have $1 million, okay? You have $1 million of retirement and your tax rate is 50%. So if you pay 50% of taxes now, you have $500,000 instead of $1 million, and that $500,000 grows at that growth rate until you retire. Then you take that money out and they say tax free because you've already paid the tax up front. But if you rather have the $1 million growing the entire time and then pay taxes in the future, and the tax rate in the future is lower, then you actually wind up with more money, even though you haven't paid taxes yet, because the whole $1 million grew instead of only 500,000. I hope that makes sense. So with that said, I'm going to try to answer the question of capital T versus small t. Is your tax rate going to be higher today or in the future? So before I give an answer as to whether I think the future tax rate versus the present tax rate is the right answer and which one you want to think of is going to be higher, let me go over a couple quick things about tax brackets. I think most people would realize that it is a graduated scale. The tax rates get higher as you make more money in the United States. It's just how it works. So if you're making up to $40,000 on your income, that's taxable. If you're single, you're at 22%, but if you're making, so your next dollar after that is at 24%, and so on. And those they vary based on your filing status. You're single, married, filing separately, married, filing jointly. Tax code favors married filing jointly. But so that is your present income tax. So what really gets down to that. Let's go also the article I brought up from Schwab, which talks about Roth versus traditional IRAs. And this really kind of summarizes it. Roth versus traditional. Roth is best suited for an individual who expects to be in a higher tax bracket when he or she starts taking withdrawals. So in other words, when you retire, you're going to be in a higher tax bracket. Traditional is better for same or lower tax bracket when you retire. So again, your question really is your tax rate going to be higher or lower when you retire? So a couple quick articles. There was an article here that I got from Clark.com that just talks about effective tax rates, a working effective tax rate and how that matters. But the best article I found was from Forbes, and it really summarizes what a lot of people would imagine. Okay, 4 reasons your taxes in retirement may be lower than you think, and part of they walk through it. Just when you retire, you're retiring from working, so your income should go down. Your income from sources should go down. Your income from working will go down. So the question is, your income in general, you retiring, you have less costs. You should have you're taking draws from your retirement, your income should go down, so your effective tax rate should go down. As Forbes points out here, your income will probably be lower, right? Experts typically recommend about 80% of your pre-retirement income for retirement. So, and the way you amass that is not just from you pull together your various sources from retirement, your IRAs, your Social Security, other retirements, other things that you have. Not all of your retirements income is taxable. It depends on where it comes from, but the effective answer is that it's your effective tax rate that matters the most, and your effective tax rate is usually lower. And the reason is pretty simple: is that and also you might retire to in a lower tax state. So there's lots of reasons to think about this. The bottom line for me, which I'll get to in a moment when I wrap up, is that your tax situation could be vastly different in the future versus today. So why create the tax event today? By most experts' opinions, not just mine, but by experts' opinions, say that your income tax is probably going to be lower when you retire. That's typically the answer than when you are working. So that translates to that capital T is going to be larger than smaller t, which means that a Roth IRA is not the right answer. So there's my conclusion. I'm not a fan of the Roth IRA because the math doesn't work. The math just simply says that if you expect to be in a lower tax bracket when you retire, and who knows what the taxes are going to be like then, you'll probably, if you're working on it, you should have good tax structures, good tax planning for when you retire, so that your income is going to be lower than it is now. So the statement really comes down to, like, why would you create a taxable event now and chew up half of your, a significant portion of your retirement money to pay the taxes now, and let the balance grow? Just because it's tax free for the balance doesn't mean it's a good idea. I don't want to pay 30, 40, 50% now and have just the remaining balance grow and only be left with that, versus having the entire thing grow and then paying a smaller portion in the future. It's just a matter of, like, if I would rather lose less in the future of the percentage. It's really a percentage game. And it gets back to that big T, little t thing. I don't want to pay 30, 40, 50% now on everything. And then, yes, it's a smaller number now because you don't have the growth, but you're losing the ability of that 30, 40, 50% to grow for you. And then that 30, 40, 50% of taxes will be taxed at a lower rate. So you wind up with more money in the end. If you just do the math, if you just explain it, if you just look at the math and how it works out, you just put in numbers, just pick a number and stick it in for your, but it all balances out. Your gains wash out. It's really on the gain. It's how much taxes are you paying today for your income versus how much you pay in the future. And by every expert opinion that I've ever come across, and it makes logical sense too, when you retire, your income tax should go down if nothing else changes. But of course, things change in the future, and odds are that taxes could change. But if you think that you're going to be able to tax plan for the future, and that your tax rates is going to be more favorable in the future, who knows what the future will bring? Why create a tax event in 2021 or 2022 or whenever, and then lose all that money up front when you could have had it and watched it grow, and then worry about the tax consequences whenever you retire? It doesn't make sense to create that taxable event now, in my humble opinion. So that's why I am not a fan of the Roth. I've never gone down that path. I've stuck to other IRA products. Again, there are crypto IRAs now. I know several of them. There's one in my that's listed in as a referral down below in my description. That it's an excellent product. I can talk to you if you want to give me a call at my number 240-517-6051. Happy to talk to you about the different options that are out there and what makes sense. But there's no reason to pay taxes today versus pushing it. Kick that can down the road. Follow the example of what the government was. Think about this for a minute, okay? Why would they want you to pay the taxes now versus in the future? They want their money now versus in the future. That's really what it is. They want the money up front rather than waiting 10, 20, 30 years down the road and maybe getting less. So there's a reason the Roth IRA exists. It sounded like a good idea at the time. It's not. Do the math. It doesn't work. So lots of information today. If you don't agree with me, if you do agree with me, whatever you think, leave a comment. Share this video, give me a comment, give me some feedback. I'm curious to see what you think. If you see it the way I see it, leave a comment below. I really appreciate the time you spent with me. Lots of information shared today in a different area, but there's like IRAs are a very big part of crypto now as well. So lots to talk about. I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm going to close the drawer on the bureau, and I'll see you next time.